Hello, and welcome to Biohacking with Brittany. I am thrilled to have you joining me today. I am a content creator, holistic nutritionist, new mom, and this is a place where I talk about health and wellness and biohacking and all of the things that I'm kind of into. And I try to bring on really cool guests and do solo episodes to help you along on your own health journey. And today's episode is a solo episode where I will be talking about my sobriety and my relationship with alcohol and kind of what that's looked like in the last 5 years and where I'm standing today, the science behind how alcohol impacts our health and my recommendations on where to start and where you might be on your journey and how to navigate tough situations. So a lot of really cool information to get into. A lot of, the reality of being sober, especially as a mom, as a new mom, and why it took me 5 years to commit. Yeah. So I have a lot to share and I am really excited to kind of just give you some insights on, where I'm at with all of it. Before we dive in, a shout out to Calroy Health Sciences. I'm really excited to be partnering with them. They create supplements that are really focused on cardiovascular health and heart health. They are definitely the top supplements that I would recommend in this space. And they have two products that really focus on optimizing your cardiovascular health and really taking a look at your nitric oxide support and how it operates in your body. So they have two standout products, Arterisol HP and Vasconox HP, which work together to optimize your cardiovascular health. The first one protects and repairs the glycocalyx, which is the delicate lining of your blood vessels that's essential for healthy circulation and blood flow. And the second one really boosts nitric oxide, which is great for relaxing blood vessels, improving circulation, and improving and increasing energy, which we all want. So they are my go-to. I'm actually going to get my dad to start taking them. He's kind of having some cardiovascular issues in a sense. And I think this is something that could really boost that area of his health. And they are backed by science and are really just cutting edge supplements in the biohacking space right now. So I'm super excited about them. What's also really cool that they have is they have a test that you can do to take a look at your nitric oxide levels. It's a saliva test. And it basically, there's two different ways that it measures your nitric oxide levels. It tracks the prebiotic nitrate, which basically takes a look at your diet and how that's impacting your nitric oxide levels. And then it takes a look at your salivary nitrate, which measures your nitric oxide levels as well. So it's really interesting. This is such a new space for me to take a look at. But when I think about people like my parents and anyone with cardiovascular issues, this is definitely something that I would do. And this is exactly how I would biohack those health issues is I would test my nitric oxide levels. I would take supplements and measure and make sure that what I'm taking is actually working. And so that's what Calroy Health Sciences does, which is why I love them. You can check them out, calroy.com/Brittany. And you will be able to save over $50 when you bundle those two supplements together. And if you order a 3-pack, you actually get a free canister of those test strips that I was talking about. And a shout out to Lila Quantum Tech, who have come out with EMF blocking underwear for women. Wow. Pause for dramatic effect. Very, very cool. If you have been a long time listener of the show, you know that this was a project or a business idea that I had forever ago of how do we protect our ovaries from the damages of EMF from our phone, 5G, 4G, 3G, everything plugged in, radiation, how do we protect our ovaries when the science is really showing that EMF can impact our health so significantly and our reproductive health. I got, somewhat far in my discovery, and Leela has now come out with underwear, and I've been talking to them. We're working together. This is definitely something that I support. And I am so excited to see this final product now on the shelves. So there's two different styles, brief and bikini. The whole style, like all of the fabric has silver woven into it. So it protects your entire reproductive area, which is amazing. It's also infused with quantum energy, which we love, and which Leela does very, very well with all of their products. They really took it to the next level. So I really, really recommend, if you are somebody who is focusing on your fertility, if you're pregnant, oh my goodness, if you're pregnant, if you're postpartum, if you are having, endometriosis, PCOS, maybe you're about to go through menopause, any of these things that really impact the ovaries and that area, I would really think about getting EMF protecting underwear so that you can protect and shield that space, especially if you're hopping on a plane, if you are in a busy city, or if you're in these areas that have that extra radiation going on. Seriously, seriously protect yourself. I will be using these a lot when I travel, when I'm in the city, all of those types of things that I just said, because I just think they're necessary, unfortunately, at this point in our society. So that is by Leela Quantum Tech. Congratulations, a new 2025 product. I'm so excited to be working with them on it. We're going to do a photo shoot together. We're doing a bunch of stuff. So yeah, and the product's beautiful. I have it right in front of me. Fabric is super soft, stretchy. Yeah, they did a wonderful, wonderful job. So check that out. You can use my discount code biohackingbrittany and you will get a 10% discount on all of their products, which is actually on top of their bundle price. So if you buy 2 pairs of underwear, it's $77. But then if you use my discount code, you get 10% off. It's no matter what the bundle is, if you use my code, you get extra off. And we love that because that really just supports you on your health journey. So check that out. Brand new partner for this year, brand new product for this year. And I'm really supportive of it because the biohacking space is so male dominated that now we're finally getting more female products, more products that say, hey, women's health needs to be a focus. We need to prioritize it. How can we do that? This is one of those products that really supports that initiative, and I am fully behind it. So check that out. And yeah, if you order a pair, let me know what you think, and I will link it in my show notes and on my website for you. All right, let's dive into this episode. Okay, so I have an app on my phone that tells me how many days I've been sober, just so you know. And today it says 460. So that is my little counter that I use to take a look at when I'm curious how long I've gone. So I want to start with my journey to sobriety because I don't know if it's normal. I'm not sure. I don't really know. I'm not somebody who has struggled with the addiction of alcohol in the common sense or like in what we kind of see shown in media. But I am somebody who used to use alcohol to unwind and used to be in the habit of drinking every weekend and struggled a lot with when Friday night would come, not having any alcohol. Like it was hard. It was hard. So let me kind of take you back. Let's take a step back. So about 5 years ago, which would be 2020, let's say. Actually, no, let's go back even further. Let's go back 2018 was kind of when I started dabbling with this idea of removing alcohol from my life. 2018, I moved to New Zealand and lived in New Zealand for about 10 months. Then we did some traveling around Australia, and then we came back to Canada. We did that because my husband got a job promotion to go out there for a while. And so we just kind of uprooted and it was pretty easy. I was working and studying online. It was a wonderful opportunity. And it was before COVID. So it was like the perfect time to travel. So we did that from 2018 to 2019. And it was in that time frame where alcohol started to become a question mark for me. And there was a couple of reasons for this. So first of all, I got an Oura ring. And I actually won my first Oura ring on a Instagram contest. from Dave Asprey, which is hilarious. And they sent me an Oura ring all the way to New Zealand. And that was in 2018. And I got this Oura ring and I started to see the stats on how alcohol was impacting my health. I saw what it did to my heart rate, my HRV, my body temperature, how it changed my sleep, my deep sleep and my REM sleep and my sleep score. And before then, I didn't, obviously I knew alcohol was like not the greatest for me, but I didn't really understand to what extent. And then when I started tracking my data and seeing the impact on a day-to-day basis of a couple of glasses of wine or going to the bar at night, I was shocked. I was shocked. And I said, okay, this is more impactful than I thought it was. This is scarier than I thought it was. I didn't know that it was this big of a deal for my body to go through. And we're talking on average, my HRV, even back then, let's say it's between 90 and 110. Okay. Drinking at night, going to bed, it would plummet to maybe 40. My heart rate would be higher. So my average heart rate is still kind of the same as it was back then, is usually in the 40s. And it would be higher in the 50s, maybe 60s. My temperature would be like 0.02 degrees to maybe even more higher than normal. My REM sleep would be lower. My deep sleep would be lower. And the sleep quality would just be terrible. So when you see this and you're tracking your data and you're a biohacker, you're a health optimizer, whatever you want to call yourself, it was very sobering, we should say. And I started to think about taking a step back from alcohol. And so that is kind of what was happening in New Zealand. And in conjunction with that was, to be honest, we had no friends when we traveled. We didn't really know anyone. We traveled with some other people who was working at my husband's job. He was working at Shopify. And so we knew some people, some Canadians who kind of also went, but we didn't really hang out with them that much. So it was just me and my boyfriend at the time. And he, like, when it's just the two of you, the incentive to drink wasn't really there as much. So I naturally was already drinking less because we weren't going out as much. We didn't know people. We weren't socializing as much. So it already kind of turned down the dial for us. And then I was also working out a lot. I think I just mentioned this recently on an episode. I was going to Les Mills gym in Wellington, New Zealand, and it was the nicest gym I have ever been to. And when you're working out 6 days a week, and I was in the fittest shape I've ever been in, the alcohol there's no space for it. There's no space to be hungover. There's no, like, your goals, it just doesn't align. It doesn't align when I was doing HIIT workouts. I was lifting the most weight I've ever lifted. I was doing yoga. I was doing sauna. Like, when I say I was in peak condition, I mean from every single standpoint, I was in peak condition. And how old was I? I was 20. Oh, brain. I was, let's think, it's 2025 right now, 7 years ago. Yeah, I was like, let's say 25. Now, mind you, at 25, it's pretty easy to be in peak condition. Like, let's be real. So I was around 25 and I didn't like the impact of alcohol. I feel like I could be more toned without it. I was less swollen. I was less puffy, all of those things. So that was all kind of happening in the scope of 1 year. However, at that time, I still had that urge to say, oh, it's Friday night. Let me have a glass of wine. Oh, it's Saturday. Let me have some wine. It's the weekend. I need to unwind. I need to de-stress with alcohol. And I was so in the habit of doing that. I started drinking alcohol at the age of 16, maybe 15, actually, 15. So that's like 10 years, over 10 years already of drinking every single weekend, basically, right? Until that point. Let's have a quick real talk about something many of us don't think about enough: protecting our reproductive health from EMFs. EMFs, which are electromagnetic fields, are around us everywhere, from our phones to Wi-Fi, 5G towers, and even household electronics. But did you know that EMFs can impact sensitive areas of the body, including your ovaries? As women, protecting this vital part of our health is so important, especially if you are planning for your future, thinking about fertility, or maybe any other health issues or concerns you have with your ovaries. That's where Leela Quantum Tech's women's underwear comes in. This is no ordinary underwear, okay? It's infused with pure quantum energy and woven with silver fibers to block over 99% of measurable radiation, including 3G, 4G, and 5G signals. It's like giving your body and your ovaries a protective shield against harmful EMFs while staying comfortable and stylish. Leela Quantum Tech has created something truly special. Durable antimicrobial underwear designed with your health and well-being in mind. Whether you prefer brief or bikini style, these are an absolute must for anyone looking to prioritize their reproductive health, which I know so many of us are. And here's the best part. You can get 2 pairs for $77 or 4 pairs for $149. And if you use my discount code biohackingbrittany, you actually get a 10% discount on top of that bundle deal. So seriously use it so you can save. Your health is worth it. Head to the link in my bio, on my show notes, on my website, and start to protect yourself today, starting from the inside out. Leela Quantum Tech, science meets self-care for every single part of you. When I was in university, I used to party a lot. I would never really black out. I wasn't that type of person, but I would just drink socially, such a big social drinker. I was at a point where I was drinking like 4 nights a week in university, and I was partying like that. So that, and then 10 years later, 25, 26 in New Zealand, being in peak condition, then getting the Oura ring, you're like, okay, this doesn't make sense. So the way that I kind of started with it was I would take a month off. I would do 30 days here and there. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, okay, in the average calendar year, what months can I take off of alcohol? All right. What months don't have holidays in them? Okay, so I could do January. I could do dry January. Okay. February is Valentine's Day, so we're going to have wine, so I can't do February. March is my boyfriend's birthday, so can't do March. Okay, April. Let's do dry April. And then all summer, I'm probably going to drink because I'm so social and we travel and there's weddings and whatever. Okay. And then September is my birthday. And then October's Thanksgiving. Okay. So then I could do November, dry November. So I kind of like started making this calendar of like these months that I could justify not drinking. And so I think I got to a point where it was like, 4 or 5 months a year, like 30-day stints of not drinking. And that's what I kind of did for 2018, 2019, 2020, and then COVID hit. When COVID hit was really actually when I noticed that alcohol had more of a hold on my life than I kind of wanted to admit. Again, not in a sense of like drinking to oblivion, blacking out, drinking by myself. That's not what it looked like for me. For me, it was like, again, this urge every single weekend, or I had a tough day. I need alcohol. The world's going to shit. It's COVID. I need alcohol. And I noticed it. I'm very aware person, like, when you're a biohacker and you're so aware of yourself and your health and your body, like you notice these patterns, right? And so it was, I think in 2022, around there, 2021, 2022, where I did 75 hard for the first time. And I've done it 3 times. And during 75 hard, you can't drink any alcohol for 90 days. Or sorry, 75 days. Obviously that makes sense. 75 days. And so me and my husband now, we did it. And that was the first time that I had gone the longest without drinking. So I did 75 hard 3 times within the span of like, I don't know, year and a half, maybe something like that. And so that kind of pushed me into this space of like these longer stints without alcohol. But again, I kind of like reverted back to drinking on holidays or at weddings or at like on occasion and that type of thing. Then in 2023, we got married And in July of 2023, I said, okay, it's time to prep for a baby. And we need to do a really significant preconception cleanse and protocol. And alcohol cannot be a part of that at all. At all. And that's a part of my baby steps protocol. I know a bunch of you signed up and are in the program. Alcohol just doesn't equate to fertility, no matter what. And I will argue anybody with that. Yeah, the impact, and I'm going to get into the impact on your health, but when we're talking about fertility for men and women, alcohol cannot be a part of optimal health and optimal fertility. So we did my 90-day program, my protocol, and we were sober for 90 days. And we ended it. We were in California we went on a couples trip with another couple. We did, a bunch of wine tours, and we went to Napa Valley and everything. And so then I drank a ton that week, a ton of wine. And I was so hungover every single day. I was so sick. Oh my goodness. I was so drunk, and then I was so sick. And that was in September, October, 2023. And that was the last time I've touched alcohol. Mind you, I got pregnant the week after. So of these, 470 days, I was pregnant for 9 months of that, however many days that is. And now I'm postpartum 6 months, and I have not had any alcohol to date as well. So that's where I am at. Like I said, I did these month stints and then 3-month stints, and then pregnancy pushed me to not touch alcohol at all. And now postpartum, again, I still have not touched it. And now I'm at a point, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit, where I don't know if I will drink again. And I don't know if I don't see it happening in the near future. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Right now, it's not something that I plan to do. And I probably will be sober for this entire year. I don't want to be, the way that I look at it is like, there's two sides to it. So the first side is like, alcohol is so bad for you. This is what it does to your health and your relationships and people around you and all types of things. The other side of it is like, if you stress too much about trying to control every aspect of your life and not letting go and letting the flow happen, it can create more stress for you and your body and your mind. So how do you balance that? Now, for me right now, alcohol doesn't play a part in my life, and I'm not in this state where I can say, oh yeah, like, it's too stressful to restrict myself. For me, it doesn't feel like restriction anymore. I don't even think about it, to be honest. I don't even think about it. Those urges that were once there on a Friday, Saturday night are completely gone. Completely gone. It's not something it's even on my radar at all. When I go to restaurants, I order mocktails or tea or soda water or something else. When I'm at home, I make mocktails. I buy non-alcoholic drinks. It's just not something that's on my radar. And so what I do want to say, and what I want to get into now, is before we talk about the health impacts, because this is kind of where I'm leading, is there is this new kind of place in culture that is kind of like this wine mom culture. And I was talking to someone about this in my DMs. Essentially, like, you see this in media a lot, like social media or on TV, where you see parents drinking a lot of alcohol. You see moms drinking wine at the end of a long day. But I think this is kind of normalized alcohol as a coping mechanism for parents. It's kind of everywhere. There's memes about needing wine to survive bedtime, or jokes about mom juice, right? Babies can't have mom juice. It's wine or it's alcohol, whatever it is. And it's a necessity. And it's become part of this like parenting narrative. And it's very concerning because it almost feels like we are masking alcoholism in this modern way that is justifiable because parenting is hard. And parenting is hard. I'm a parent and I completely think it is hard. It's challenging. But now we're at a point where we just kind of have these these mommy wine clubs. And there's just all of this narrative around it that is just saying it's normal and it's okay. But here's the thing. It's not normal and it's not okay. If at the end of the day, you are reaching for a glass of wine after you put your kids to bed every single night, if you're feeling like, hey, this is a coping mechanism, I need this at the end of my day. I need this beer. I need this whatever cocktail. There's a very strong chance that you have a problem and you have an issue that you actually need to take a deeper look at. Parenting is hard. It's overwhelming. It's lonely at times. And in our society, alcohol is often presented as this solution to kind of get through that. But we really do need to think about this. Alcohol as a quick fix can spiral into dependence. It can disrupt sleep, worsen anxiety, and dull our ability to fully show up for ourselves and our kids. And so that's part of the reason why I'm still sober now, even postpartum, is I don't feel like I could show up 100% for my child if I was drinking. Even one drink, I don't think I could be the mom that he needs me to be. If there was an emergency, if something were to happen and I am not 100% myself, I would never forgive myself. And it feels irresponsible for me personally to drink right now. Also, I'm breastfeeding. Like the whole pump and dump culture, all of that. My midwife said to me when she dismissed me at 7 weeks, she said, don't believe that the pump and dump culture, you can drink and it won't impact your breast milk at all. You'll be fine. And I was like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Even if the research says 0% of alcohol impacts your breast milk, it dehydrates your body. It produces toxins in your liver that then you need to detox. And then you're breastfeeding. And so are you detoxing through your breast milk? I don't believe that it cannot impact breast milk in that way. It's already challenging to have enough supply when you're somebody like me who's very active. And go in the sauna or do these other things where I need to be drinking enough to keep my breast milk going and keep hydrated. Why would I add alcohol to that? So I don't necessarily agree with that. Again, you can do what's best for you, but going back to this idea of managing parenting through alcohol or any substance is problematic and is scary. And it's not something that I want to partake in. And I've kind of heard it in the mom circles that I'm in already of like, we can have wine on the dock while the baby's nap type of thing. And it's just, I just can see how dependent people can get on it. And it's just not something that aligns with my health goals. As a mommy biohacker, as a biohacking woman who is trying to be a leader and authority in this space and role model, I don't think that alcohol has a place. And this comes from somebody who used to party 4 times a week. Okay. Do I miss partying? Yeah. Do I miss being social with alcohol? Yeah. Do I want to go and, be out to 2 a.m. in a club? Sure. I haven't done that in so long and it would be so cool to try that. But it is not something that I am willing to do right now. I definitely want to talk about the health impacts of alcohol on women and men. We cannot ignore this. Obviously, this was a huge part in why I decided to start to move away from alcohol. And research consistently shows how alcohol affects both men and women, particularly in these critical areas. So first of all, we have women's health. We have hormonal balance. So alcohol disrupts hormone production, which can affect menstrual cycles, fertility, and mood regulation. And then we have fertility. It shows that regular alcohol consumption has been linked to decreased fertility in women. It can lower ovarian reserve of our eggs, and it can disrupt ovulation. And we obviously need ovulation to be able to get pregnant. During pregnancy, alcohol can increase the risk of fetal alcohol spectrum disorders, which is known as FASD, and other complications like preterm labor or low birth weight. I have never been somebody who, agrees with this idea that you can have some wine during your pregnancy here and there. I just think you might as well just be sober. I don't think any risk to your baby is worth it, especially if you're only having one glass. Like, why even bother? It's not like you're going to be able to get drunk or anything off of that if that's what you're going for. So for me, I just don't see much of a point to it. And then postpartum recovery. So alcohol can interfere with sleep, worsen anxiety and depression, and disrupt breastfeeding by reducing milk supply and altering its composition. Men's health has a huge impact on men's health. Men's fertility is becoming more popular as we're talking about it, which is great. It can really impact sperm. So studies have shown that alcohol consumption can lower sperm count and motility, making conception more difficult. Hormones, alcohol can reduce testosterone levels, impacting energy, mood, and libido. And overall fertility. So heavy drinking has been linked to decreased fertility in men, emphasizing the importance of a holistic approach to health for both parents. By removing alcohol, you're not just improving your own health, you're creating a healthier environment for conception, pregnancy, and parenting, both from the men's and the women's side. Now, obviously, navigating social situations is tough. I was talking to somebody about this in my DMs, and she was saying, she has this like go-to line, or she has a couple of things that she always says when people ask her, and she explains why she's not drinking. And I told her, I said, I'm not even at that point anymore. Like, I just say, I don't drink, and I offer zero explanation. I don't justify myself. I don't say because or why or go into it. Like, I don't go like, I'm not drinking because I'm a new mom and, it's just not part of my life, or the health impacts. Like, I just say, I'm not drinking. I don't drink. Like, I literally stop talking afterwards. It's silent. Like, I don't offer any explanation at all because it's no one's business. And I don't need to justify my actions to other people, especially about health, especially to people who are not as healthy as I am. And that might kind of sound like, me on this high moral ground type of vibe. It's not like that. It's more like I understand the impact of alcohol on my body and my health, and a lot of people don't. So I don't care about the judgment that can come from people who don't drink alcohol come from the people who drink alcohol towards me, somebody who doesn't. So that's why I just don't even bother. Like, I don't need to justify my actions. I don't need the approval. I'm past that point of doing that with strangers, with friends or family. Like, I'm just way past that. I just don't care because I understand from such a deep level on how it impacts how we detox, how our cells function, how it makes me feel, like all of the metrics I was talking about earlier, the heart health, the sleep, so it's just not something that I just even really feel the need to have a conversation about anymore. But obviously in the beginning, it's so different, right? Like, you feel like you have to justify your actions. You feel like you have to say, I'm doing 75 hard, so I'm not drinking. I am preparing for a baby, so I'm not drinking. Like, you feel like you have to say why, but I want you to hear it from me. Like, you really don't. It's your business and it's your body and your health. And if you feel like alcohol doesn't fit into your picture and help you reach your health goals, all power to you. And that's okay. And you don't have to talk to anybody about that if you don't want to. But obviously one of the hardest parts of going sober is dealing with social situations and the reactions of family and friends. So here's some strategies, you can kind of do that have worked for me in the past. So set boundaries early. You can be upfront about your decision. You don't have to over-explain. As simple, I'm not drinking right now is enough. You can practice it in the mirror. I'm not drinking right now. Take out the right now. I'm not drinking. That's it. You can offer alternatives. So when hosting or attending gatherings, bring non-alcoholic options. There's so many great zero-proof spirits and mocktail recipes out there now that are just as enjoyable. Man, this has been one of the best things that I've seen in the last 7 years is like When I go to a restaurant now, there's always a mocktail, alcohol-free part on the menu. Always. It's like these cool kind of things that people are making with different herbs and flavors. And mind you, yeah, they have a lot of sugar in them. Absolutely. But if you're somebody who's trying to keep alcohol out of your life, that can be a great substitute to start. I'm not recommending drinking multiple of those every Friday, Saturday night, that type of thing. But if you're going out for dinner, everyone's ordering a cocktail and you get a nice mocktail that's pretty and whatever as well, I think that's fine. I think that is totally, totally fine. You can make really healthy mocktails at home. You can buy zero proof cans and spirits and all types of things, even beer now, zero proof wine. So there's so many options out there if you're looking for an alternative. You can practice your responses. So sometimes people push or ask why you're not drinking. Having a calm, prepared response can make these moments easier. For example, you can say something like, I've realized I feel better without it. Or it's a personal choice I'm happy with. Have your go-to line. If you need it, go for it. And then last but not least, lean on support. Surround yourself with people who respect and encourage your choices, whether it's friends, a partner, an online community. Support makes all the difference. I want to say something about this. I have a close family member who has a partner who drinks a lot. And now this family member also drinks a lot. And it's been honestly kind of sad for us to see. And I've talked to my family member about it. And it's concerning. I'm trying not to give specifics here. It's definitely concerning. And it's really hard to watch. And what I want to explain this to you is like the way that it can be framed is it can be framed in a very casual, fun, or funny manner to make it seem like it's not a big deal. Everyone's doing it. It's fine. For example, when these two people are in my home or I visit them or whatever, we're around each other, there's a lot of like conversation or like comments of like, oh yeah, I can definitely help cook the Christmas dinner, or I can make a pie, or I can do this. I just need a good bottle of wine in the kitchen with me. Or like just these like little things that show how much it's needed. Like, oh yeah, let's do brunch tomorrow and I'll bring all the stuff for mimosas. Or I'll do, let's do movie nights and let's make mocktails. It's like this constant recommendation or discussion about alcohol or bringing it up in conversation. Like, oh yeah, work is so stressful, but it's fine if you have a glass of whiskey after, right? Like these mentioning it over and over again in different capacities. And then when I'm around them, I see how much alcohol they buy, how much they bring, how many bottles of wine they finish off together, that type of thing. I also obviously follow them on social media. So they post a lot about going to different sports events, going out, watching movies at home. And this always, I'm literally telling you every single time there is a drink in the photo or video. And this family member did not drink this much until they started seeing this person. And that person has come from a family who drinks a lot. And it's not infiltrated into their behavior. And it's sad. It's sad to see when it's multiple nights a week, multiple drinks, multiple events, and it's become a crutch. And, even talking about this in January last year, I talked to them about doing dry January, which so many people are doing, which is great. It's a great start. Feel what it's like to be sober. Absolutely. Give it a go. And they did it for about a week. And I was asking, I was like, how's it going? Like, how's it feeling? And my family member said like, oh yeah, like it lasted about a week, but last night we saw some friends and we said, screw it, whatever. And so they just stopped doing it. And the other person I'm giving it away. The other person that they are seeing didn't do it at all. So it was just my family member who did it for 1 week. So it is really hard when it is framed as cool, fun, social. It's not a big deal. Everyone's doing it. I'm young. It doesn't matter. Movies and cocktails, mimosas and brunch, wine and cooking, girls' night, boys' night, beers after the game, whatever it is. It's everywhere in society. And it's really hard when you have people who are close to you who see it as so embedded in every single thing that they do. Especially when you're somebody like me who's now sober and you view it so different compared to when you were in it. And that is really hard. And I can imagine being in a relationship with somebody who drinks a lot would be very, very difficult. I don't personally think that I could do that. I think the person that you need to be with has to be someone who has values that are similar to yours and makes you a better person. And for me, health is my number one value. I would really struggle with that. And so again, everyone's different. And yeah, my advice, not that I'm even one who should really give advice, but my advice is that if you have a family member or someone close to you who drinks a lot, I would, and this is kind of what I do, is like I offer alternatives. So like mocktails, tea, coffee, something else when we're together. I talk about the benefits of doing something like dry January and, a health kick, and, you can lose weight, or you can, whatever like little motivation thing that they might need. Like your skin can be better. You can sleep better. You have more energy. Like I try to like talk about the benefits like that. And then engaging in activities that alcohol is not a part of as well is also helpful. So like more active things, like let's do a workout together. Let's do a Peloton ride, whatever it might be, can also be helpful. But it is very, very difficult when you have people who are close to you who have alcohol be such a big part of their lives. And that's something that I'm personally experiencing with this family member who's very close to me. And so it's hard. It's really hard. And I will say on this note that my husband is not sober. That's not something that he is doing right now. He has done 75 hard with me a couple times. He has done my baby steps preconception protocol where he was sober for 90 days. Might have been like 100 actually before we got pregnant. And he drinks, but he does not drink often at all. Maybe, I don't even know, maybe a couple times a month, maybe. Yeah. And maybe he'll go out with a friend, or maybe he'll have a beer after hockey, and that's kind of it. Very much dialed down, very much dialed down. We don't keep a supply of alcohol in the house. Like we have a wine fridge with our new house. There's some wine in there that people gave us, and that's it. Like it's just not a part of our culture in this house. And it's just not something that we're going to promote. So it's not like it's a sober household. It's not like we don't have any alcohol around, but yeah. And I'm fine with that. He has to make his own choices and he's on his own journey. And it's not in my place to say, you should be sober every single day. Like I'd love that for him, but I think he's doing great as he is. A couple times a month and that's working. Sure. That's fine. Like that's okay. That's okay for him. Yeah. So there are healthy alternatives to alcohol that I've talked about, like sparkling water with lime, herbal teas. Kombucha is a great one. I did that for a long time before I got more into mocktails, is just would drink kombucha because, it's carbonated. It's really good for you. It's got a bunch of different flavors. You can buy it basically anywhere. And then I kind of got into crafting fun mocktails with like fresh fruit and herbs. And yeah, that's kind of where I went. And for me, stepping away from alcohol has opened up a whole new world of healthier coping mechanisms. Breathwork, meditation, movement have become my go-to tools for stress relief. I will take a hot bath. I'm not, using cannabis either. So I stopped using cannabis when I got pregnant. Yeah. And I actually didn't do any as well during my preconception cleanse. So I've been off of weed or cannabis for even longer than alcohol, which has been great. It actually sticks in your body and it actually sits in your fat cells and stays in your body for much longer than people think. So that is something that I've steered clear from because it can go through breast milk. And also it can impact your baby as well during pregnancy, even if you've stopped prior to pregnancy. What I will say is something that I will be continuing doing is psilocybin. I haven't touched it again, like since I did my preconception cleanse before I got pregnant. But I will, once I'm done breastfeeding, I will go back to microdosing with psilocybin and with mushrooms. I think that will be my thing that I do. And I look forward to doing it. I really miss microdosing. That's a whole nother podcast. Psilocybin has been very healing for me. And that's definitely something that I will bring back. It's not something that I feel super comfortable with experimenting with postpartum, with breastfeeding. I know that a lot of, I need to do research on it to see if and how much would pass through breast milk. I don't know. So that's why I haven't touched anything. I do know that there is a subculture of moms out there who are using microdosing with psilocybin to help with things like postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. And I think that is a very, very interesting topic that I would love to dive into with an expert or somebody who's gone through that themselves. The mental health aspect of postpartum and pregnancy and birth is very difficult. For a lot of women, it can be challenging. There can be trauma. And so the way that psilocybin works is it creates new neural pathways in the brain. And so you're now connecting the dots differently, and you're able to think through and heal through maybe what has happened in a new way. So that's why it can be this like beautiful way to help you heal on your journey. It's also not addictive like alcohol is. There's no negative health impacts on your liver, nothing to detox. Like it's so different. So I would love to kind of actually explore that now that I'm thinking about this. So in my final thoughts, to anyone who's listening, who's considering sobriety, whether it's for a week, a month, or longer, know this. It's okay to take baby steps. My journey took years, okay? And that's totally okay. What matters is that you're listening to that inner voice that's asking you to consider a change. And I think that's really beautiful. To my fellow moms, I see you. This path isn't easy, but it's worth it. For me, sobriety has brought a deeper sense of presence, clarity, and connection, not just with my son, but with myself. And I think that is so important. Thank you so much for listening to this extended personal episode. If you found this helpful or inspiring, I would love to hear from you. Share your thoughts with me on Instagram. Send me a message. That is where I am the most active, or you can leave me a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember that it isn't about being perfect. It's about living intentionally and choosing what aligns with your values. If sobriety is something you're curious about, know that you're not alone. And there are so many tools and resources out there to support you. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep biohacking your best life. Thanks for listening to another episode of Biohacking with Brittany. If you're interested in finding the show notes or the sponsors for this episode, you can do so on my website, which is biohackingbrittany.com. Remember to follow me on Instagram, where I'm most active. My handle is @biohackingbrittany. And if you're interested in working together and you want to email me directly, you can do that. My email is info@biohackingbrittany.com. And I look forward to hearing from you and having you tune in next week.